What's up, everybody? Matthew Myers, Ignite Financial, here to talk about the Roth IRA today. Why do we want to talk about the Roth IRA? Why does everybody want to talk about the Roth IRA? Because it's pretty freaking awesome. So if you're not familiar with the Roth IRA, you heard about it, maybe you're checking on here to find out all about it. How much can I contribute? What's it all about? Why would I contribute to it? Who are you? Let's get into it. Why is the Roth IRA great? So Roth IRA is fantastic for a lot of reasons, but let's talk about what most people are familiar with. So if you've contributed to an IRA before, or a 401k at work, and it's a traditional 401k, so what you know is that if you make $100,000 per year, you contribute $5,000 through your 401k at work, or $5,000 to a traditional IRA, you know that you're gonna be taxed on $95,000. So that $5,000 is gonna be pre-tax, right? So what they're doing is you're getting a tax deduction by go ahead and putting that money into the 401k or into the traditional IRA. So sounds like a pretty sweet deal, right? At least a year of, because all of a sudden you're paying less in taxes. You got a little bit of money stashed away, a little bit extra for retirement. Sounds great. Well, as that money continues to grow and grow and grow, guess what? It's all tax deferred, right? So down the road, it's going to be a situation where you're going to pay income tax on that money when you start taking distributions out of that traditional IRA. Now, whether or not it makes sense for you certainly depends on your individual situation. Sometimes it does make sense, right? If you're making $400,000, $500,000 per year, or even say, $200,000 per year, puts you into a high tax bracket. Currently, that could make a lot of sense in your situation to go ahead and take a deduction now, because down the road, when it comes to retirement, based on planning and everything else that's done in that process, right? Maybe you're projected to take less on an inflation adjusted basis out and pay less taxes going forward. So certainly a little bit of guessing as far as that process goes, whether or not it makes sense, but certainly talk to your advisor. Don't have one, call me, be glad to chat with you about it, make sure it makes sense for your situation. But when it comes to the Roth account, right, why does everybody get so juiced about the Roth? Well, the reason for that, instead of it on a pre-tax basis, it's on a post-tax basis. So let's take a look at the same situation, right? You make $100,000 per year, you put $5,000 into the Roth account, you're taxed on all $100,000. So right away, you're like, hey, that doesn't sound like a good idea at all, right? It sounds like it sucks. No. Listen, man, I get it, right? But the thing is that the money's going to grow tax-free. So how does that work out? Remember the rule of 72. So rule of 72 is going to say, take the expected return, divide it by 72, and that's approximately how long it takes for your money to double. So if you're young, right, and you get a 9% return on your money, right, then approximately every 8 years, that money is going to double. So you put $5,000 into it, you put another, $5,000 the next year, and you do nothing else, right? So you got $10,000 in there. And let's just say that first year, the market is flat. You didn't get any sort of return, right? So you got $10,000. In 8 years, that money doubles. So now you have $20,000, right? That's one time, right? That 20,000 becomes 40. That's 2 times. 40 comes 80, right? That's 3 times. 80 comes 160. That's 4 times. 160 becomes 320, right? All of a sudden, it becomes real money, right? And so instead of paying taxes on $320,000 down the road, you're now just paying. It's a tax-free withdrawal for you. So when you're taking a look at the different buckets of money you want to have at retirement, right? You could have a taxable one, right? There's nothing wrong with having a taxable one. If you're contributing to a 401k at work, the match is more likely going into a taxable bucket, right? The Roth account, you could have that at work as well. You could have it outside of work. You could also have a regular brokerage account, right? All these types of buckets of money are going to help you to control your taxes when it comes time for you to retire. So one of the beautiful things is that after-tax dollars, you go ahead and you get that tax-free growth on it and tax-free withdrawal. Now, We're going to talk about all sorts of beautiful things when it comes to the Roth, but another beautiful thing is you are not required to take an RMD. So what is an RMD? RMD is a required minimum distribution. So when we go back to the example of the pre-tax money, right? The traditional 401k, the traditional IRA, right? You get that tax break up front, and all of a sudden you have this, big bucket of money at the end. It's fantastic, man. I'm throwing pens around here. I'm so excited. So it's fantastic, right? You got this big bucket of money, and but you don't need it. So let's say you saved a lot of money elsewhere. You have very low cost of living, and so you actually don't need that bucket of money. Well, the IRS is going to say, hey, listen, man, we want our money. You're going to give us our money, right? So they say at age 72 that we know that based on your life expectancy, you're only expected to live so long, and we're going to make you take some of that money out. We're going to force you to take some of that money out. Why? Not because you need it, but because the IRS wants their tax money, right? And so they don't care about the Roth, right? They already got that tax money from the Roth. So they're not caring about that. What they're caring about is the traditional IRA and the RMD. So the Roth does not have an RMD requirement because the IRS already got their money. They don't care, right? They're focused on bigger and better things like where to get more money from other people. So the Roth is great. Honestly, you can use it inside a 401k. Check with your plan to see if they have that. Outside of it, we'll talk about that a little bit. It's 2024. So if you are 50 or under 50, I should say, you can put $7,000 into it. Obviously, you don't have to max it out, right? You can put whatever you can into it. $50 is better than no bucks, right? So put what you can of a Roth account. You can take it out at that point in time. Or you use to buy your first home. There's a $10,000 lifetime limit on that. They have not raised that limit in a long time. I'd love to see them do that. Really help people get into houses that are looking to purchase a house. And purchasing a house just means that you have not owned a home within the last 2 years. So you could have bought a house, and sold it 5 years ago. You've been enjoying apartment living. Maybe you traveled for work. You didn't feel like settling down. Weren't quite sure where you're going to live. All of a sudden, you're more settled into an area. You want to purchase a house again, and you need some assistance to do so. You could pull from your Roth IRA to do that, even though technically it's not your first house purchase. So in order to avoid those 10% penalties, it has to meet one of those qualified reasons. Plus, it must meet a 5-year holding period. So that 5-year holding period is from when you made that initial contribution. So pay attention to that 5-year holding period, especially for individuals who just started a Roth account before they retired and they're looking to take some of that money out. Be very, very careful about how much money you take out, because you can take out that principal amount, which is the amount that you actually contributed at any point in time. Because why? And you already paid taxes on it, right? So it's the growth that we have to be concerned about at that point in time in order for it to be qualified and take it out. There are non-qualified distributions. There are withdrawals that don't meet the IRS guidelines for qualified distributions. You'll pay your ordinary income tax on any earnings plus a 10% penalty, right? So, however, there are exceptions, right? So again, I think it's important to kind of go back on that and review that again. Right, so let's go back to example. We put $10,000 into our Roth IRA, right? We pay taxes on that money already. The Roth IRA is now worth $15,000. You decide to withdraw $12,000. You do not meet one of the qualified reasons. You're not 59 and a half. There hasn't been a 5-year, period held. And so you decide to still withdraw that $12,000. Well, that $10,000 is all principal, right? You're not going to be taxed. You're not going to be penalized on that. The $2,000 that's earnings, that's going to be ordinary income tax plus a 10% penalty on top of it. So if you're in 25% tax bracket, right, all of a sudden, boom, you're paying 35%. You're losing almost half that money to taxes, right? Tax man cometh. He gets enough of my money, right? I'm sure he gets enough of your money. You don't want to give any more than you absolutely necessary. So unless it's an absolutely dire situation, you're going everywhere, you're trying everything, to find this additional money and you just cannot find this additional $2,000 that you need, then if you have to pull it out, you have to pull it out. But again, just be aware that it's very penal for you to do so and not wait for the entire time period. Because again, if you wait, it's all tax free at the end, right? Why pay 35% taxes when it's all tax free at the end? Call up your uncle, borrow $2,000, and hopefully avoid that penalty. So non-qualified distributions. So you may not have to pay the 10% penalty if these exceptions apply, right? You take a series of substantially equal distributions. So these are called 72T distributions. So you can do these inside an IRA, you can do them inside a Roth account. So they're equal, systematic, equal, and distributions. Wow, I'm just repeating myself at this point in time. I'm pumped, man. I'm excited about this stuff. So substantially equal distributions. So in your situation, right, let's say you're 52, you saved a bunch of money, you want to retire, but a lot of your money is tied up in retirement accounts and you want to take it out and you're thinking, oh my God, Matt, I'm gonna have to work for 8 more years to get this money out, right? And I'm like, hey, no, you can do 72T distributions. You're avoiding the penalty. You may not avoid the taxation on it, especially when it comes to traditional IRA type of accounts, but you can avoid that 10% penalty. And so you just have to do it for at least 5 years or until the time you become 59 and a half, and then you can stop them at that point in time. And so it's a great way to take advantage of that. Same thing 401ks, right? I don't know if you knew this, but 401ks, you can start taking those distributions out at age 55, assuming your plan allows that. So again, you're avoiding the penalty on that as well. So if you didn't know any of this stuff, want to learn more about it, contact information is below. Give me a phone call, right? I mean, honestly, I just want you guys to do well, man. I want everybody to be just more informed, make smart decisions, know their options, and just not, be fed up with the generic BS that you read in all the magazines. So what else? What else can you take these out for? You have unreimbursed medical expenses exceeding 7.5 of your adjusted gross income. You pay medical insurance premiums after losing your job. Your distribution is due to an IRS levy. Man, those IRS guys, I hope they never listen or watch this YouTube. Man, do not like those guys. You need the money for qualified disaster recovery. Again, it has to be deemed a national disaster in order to get that. So just if it's localized and it hasn't been deemed a disaster recovery zone, then it doesn't apply. Your take-in distributions pay for qualified education expenses. You're covering the cost of childbirth or adoption expense. And I believe it's going to be up to $5,000. There are certainly reasons that you can take it out. Again, if we talk about higher education expenses, what does that include? Tuition, fees, books, supplies, required equipment, room and board. If you're at least a half-time student, okay? So if you take one class, get room and board, and I don't know what you're doing, right? Partying, something. That doesn't qualify. Have to be student at least half-time. So when it comes to retirement, hey, there's a lot of options out there, a lot of information, but the Roth IRA, it's a great tool. A lot of things you can do with it. Take advantage of it. Again, my information is below. Shoot me a phone call, send me an email. Be glad to talk with you about your options when it comes to retirement, when it comes to your Roth IRA, and making the most of your money in investing. It's Matthew, Ignite Financial. Have a great one. Make money. Talk to you soon.